What's good? What's good? So, I think the title of this video will be After the Elite Have Fallen, the Initial Accounting. I dream of a world where the ruling class, the elites, the oligarchs, the corrupt leaders of our world are dealt with and addressed morally and ethically, of course. I believe trials should be had. Evidence should be submitted. Whistleblowers should be listened to and not suicided. Rest in peace, Seth Rich. And so, in this world that I dream of, the central bank is gone. The central bank cartel is gone. Our private equity firms are gone. Um, all of these major financial institutions are gone. And let me be clear, not because they're illegal or outlawed, but because when we address the fundamental problem of our fiat currency, we will no longer have the opportunity for these financial institutions to play the games that they've been playing. Thank you for bearing with me as I got through my thought on that. Cryptocurrency is going to be huge. Um, there are a ton of shit coins out there. And while we're on the subject of crypto and corruption, apparently Sam Bankman Fried is not going to be charged, or he's like getting a slap on the wrist. You should look into who his mother is. So Sam Bankman Fried was kind of the ringleader of this major FTX crypto scam, because a lot of these cryptos are scams, a lot of them. I even have my reservations about Bitcoin and Ethereum, but in my opinion, those are the top two. Bitcoin and Ethereum will help us bridge the gap between the chaotic corruption times of hyperinflation we're experiencing now and the future times of a more stable currency and a more free market, which will allow for a lot of bartering to occur, which will open up so many doors. So many doors will be open once we are actually in a free market. Which kind of leads into the second point of the video. When the elite have fallen, when there is no more BlackRock and Vanguard, there will be a massive amount of land and real estate that is kind of unaccounted for, because if a lot of these people are in jail and these private equity firms are no longer a thing and the banks are no longer a thing in their current iteration, let me be clear, in their current iteration, there is going to be so much land, so much resources, so much real estate that is unaccounted for. I estimate, just a ballpark off the top of my head, like 66% of the country is like unaccounted for at that point. And that's including federal land. So like federal land, land that is owned by like asset management companies like BlackRock and Vanguard. So like housing complexes that don't even technically have a landlord, like they're just owned by a giant private equity firm. So those are going to become available. It is going to open up so many doors. And I want to take a quick side route here and talk about federal land and my personal passion for the national forests. I've spent a majority of my life in the Pacific Northwest, and I have been so goddamn blessed to get to experience the beauty that is the Pacific Northwest. If you've never been here, you should come visit someday. It's so fucking beautiful. It rains a lot. It really does. And that sucks. But like the summers here are fucking fantastic. If you can snowbird, I would encourage you to summer here. Moving on. So I have a personal passion for the forests. I love them. I just love just being in the woods. It just feels so good. Right. And so we are going to have a ton of this land that we are going to want people to invest in. And this is my sort of wet dream. I would like to see people like, maybe not Elon Musk, because at the end of the day, I don't think he's a good actor, but I do believe there are enough uh, people with enough resources that they can buy these segments of the land and create like land trusts and um, create contracts where it's like for 100 years, no development, no nothing. And I even had an even crazier thought, like the money that they use to buy, right? So if you want to buy like 1 million acres somewhere in Montana, um, you don't buy it from anyone, but the money that you would need to put up to create the land trust and to have your name attached to it and everything, because it's going to be the new form of virtue signaling. That's the overall sort of end goal, is it's the virtue signaling. It's not about the capital gains, because that will be the new virtue signaling soon, someday. So you buy 1 million acres, and the caveat is you have to pay for the maintenance, upkeep, and improvement throughout like a period of time. So maybe 50 years. So if it costs, let's say, $1 million to maintain your acreage and you want to buy it for 50 years, you have to put in $50 million. And that secures work too. That secures work for people. So it's like a contract of work. So it's not just that the land is being preserved, but you're also creating jobs. Like, how fucking cool is that? That is the shit that I geek out on. That is the stuff that I love to think about. And so not all of the federal land will be used like that, but also I want to throw another side note in here. We don't need to use wood to build houses. Whoa, whoa, whoa. The only reason that we do build houses the way we do now is because of our fascist government. People like to criticize me because I use the F word frequently, but it is quite literal. Because do you know how hard it is to build a house? Do you know how many permits you have to get? It's not like one permit. It's not like two permits. It's not like three permits. It's like 12, if not 20, if not even more. Sewage, plumbing. So, like, not just sewage, but like the water in, the sewage out, the electricity in, all the codes. Oh my God, the codes, the studs need to be this far apart. It's insane. It's insane, the bureaucracy involved. On top of, like, in California, I think you have to put like solar technology on new houses in California, right? So there are all of these mandates and these bureaucratic roadblocks that substantially increase the cost of production. And then they're forced to use wood. You can't just go use other materials and be like, this is my house. No, because you'll fail an inspection. And then you don't have a house because you can't do what you want on your land in this country, because it's not a free market, because America is not capitalist. Someday we could be, though. And how fucking cool would it be if somebody decides to build like a hempcrete house? There are so many alternative dwelling construction methods. We can refer to our indigenous ancestors and how they lived. Uh, it's none of your fucking business to tell someone how they can live on their land. Mind your own fucking business, you fascist commie bastards. And I realize that it's like you can't really juxtapose the two of those together, but you can. You can. We're gonna make it a thing. You fascist commie fucks. Okay, I'm getting really amped up. I'm sorry. Let's try to wrap up the video. And when this does occur, because of all of the shifts in value and in the market, people will be able to buy land and buy housing, and like we could almost solve the homelessness crisis overnight. Well, no, we can't, because people who are already at that stage have got a lot going on. So it's not just like you give them housing and they're fine. No, they need so much more support. However, when we are able to remove the restrictions that have created the uh, obstacle we currently face, and we are able to live in the state of abundance that is capable with our resources, we'll be able to take care of our people better. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why anarchism is the morally superior philosophical ideology that should drive how we interact with one another. Thank you very much for listening to my TED Talk. Much love, y'all.